I'm getting a thumbs up from Matt, so we are live for our work session. This is the Board of Aldermen work session. Is January the 17th, and this is in preparation for our meeting on January 21st. So we have one presentation this morning, and it is, LPK is going to do that. Gary, would you like to introduce it just based on the
Sure.
Parks and Rec?
Sure. So LPK Architects, just to refresh, we engaged them last year to add these facilities at 3 parks. So we're and I've already had the designs approved. So today is just kind of an update presentation. So this would be to add restroom at Patriots Park, a restroom facility at the J.L. King Park football field, and a pavilion restroom, but also at Moncrief, but also to potentially update the pool facility, pool decking, pool house area. So
okay.
that was an updated scope we added late last year. So
Okay.
that's where we're at with I guess what the scope of work will look like, and I'll hand it over to them to give an update.
Cool. If you guys.
Thank you very much. I
No,
appreciate it.
Okay.
I will borrow the clicker back now. Thank you very much. Just to kind of refresh everyone, and I guess clarify and apologize to some degree. We've had Patriots Park in King ready for some time and anticipated and hoped to bid Patriots, J.L. King, and Moncrief all at one time. They're very small projects. It's hard to get a significant volume and get interesting and qualified bidders. And anticipated bidding it together. And as Gary said, towards the end of the year, we made a change in scope, which I think is very important to improve a lot of facilities at the pool and at Moncrief. And it changes it plus deviates to a degree that we think we need to go ahead and get J.L. King and Patriots Park out there. Together, they're large enough that we'll get some attention. And as professionals, it's our responsibility to go find bidders for you. I don't think you just stick an ad in the paper. And I tell my consultants that as well. So we expect that we will find bidders and we'll find all the proper people to solicit prices so we get a competitive price. But what we want to do is show you quickly what we've got. Just to revisit, we cured a couple things, but what we'll be coming to the board with is request for permission to advertise and solicit prices on both Patriots and J.L. King. They're ready to go. Kayla's got the drawings there, and we'll be tweaking by identity any loose ends there. And then we want to show you what we've been working with on Moncrief, because we think we can really change the experience for the citizens and guests there substantially. It reminds me of a facility very similar to what I grew up with years ago in Philadelphia, right down the road. But it's old, it's tired, she needs a lot of work. So the 3 locations you're all familiar with there. Don't need to go over that with everyone. King has the large facility there, but we've worked with the city and worked with them on placing it near the track, near the football facility. This will be restrooms, as we talked about. More than anything, what we're trying to do here is kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We want to be restroom facilities for people using the park, changing facilities, etc. But the opportunity to use it when they use it for football or other sports. So we have some changing facilities there as well. And then the opportunity for eventually, in this upper portion here, this is a knockout panel. It can be used for storage now, but at a later point in time, that can easily be removed and become a concession stand. And so we're going to stub up the proper infrastructure here so that we can easily transition at the proper point in time without expending a lot of money. These are ventilated, not air conditioning facilities, to remind everyone. We have stainless steel fixtures. It's very much a maintenance-free facility there. The interior materials are as graffiti-proof as possible without going crazy with the budget. And we will have a lot of lighting, and they're secured from the exterior. So at the end of the day, the parks people or security or city police, once it's cleared, we can close it off so we don't have any security issues at night, etc. there you don't have to worry about it. We think that's very important. We still have the same basic look as before. Again, low maintenance, something fresh, new, clean look there. We're going to pick up some solar panels to try to make this thing as much off the grid as possible. We want to reduce city services and costs there, so that works well. Patriots is even smaller and more concise. We have looked at prevailing breezes and location of how it's used. It's tucked in the corner. Again, it is small, neat, and simple. Everything, this is a unisex. Everything is ADA accessible. Hey, Hemp, how you doing, sir? And I'll tell you what, I'm gonna back up for a second real quick if I can catch. And what I was telling you is we had slowed it down trying to get Moncrief and get them all together, but with the change in scope, I think it's better for us to go ahead and let's bid King and Patriots. We need to go ahead and expedite it and get it back out. We feel like the location for J.O. King is important. You have a lot of flooding in that area. We've worked to get this in a location where we can get the elevation up. It's close to the walking track. Everyone that uses the park can use it. But it's also located where athletic fields, it can be used for changing rooms, as we talked about. We made the modifications before. We have the changing for babies. We have the athletic changing. We have the locker room. The concession stand opportunity, storage for now, but the knockout panel so it can be converted. And we made the modification there. Oh, that is a touch screen, isn't it? We made the modification there so that we can secure at the end of the day between parks and city police, so that when it's secure, someone can drive by and visually look at it without worrying about people being in the building. We think that's very important to the mayor and all of y'all. Graffiti-proof material, stainless steel fixtures, all those things. We want y'all to have as low-key maintenance opportunity as possible, as vandal-proof as possible. Patriots, smaller, simpler, but we've tucked it to be a nice neighborhood park. We don't want to lose that character. We've tucked it in the corner right up there. At the same time, it is a true unisex, ADA, everything's ADA accessible, including approaches to it. Maybe changing and everything. We provide a combination water fountain, water bottle, refill station now. Everywhere I've been recently, I was in Charleston for Christmas, I was in San Francisco for business, and I haven't seen a plastic water bottle sold in 2 months, you know. And we're trying to become more sustainable, more environmentally friendly, and we think it's important for you to lead that. We have the same ability to secure and close, but also the ability to close so we have no blind spots there. Ventilated, we will have tempered, so we don't have freeze issues there. And again, we're going to ask for permission to bid this at the next meeting. But that's it. Now, Moncrief, you've never seen what we're doing. It's a significant change in scope. It came to us and said, we've got an opportunity to do something we think, and for some reason this won't load on this computer, but I'll jump back to it. We started doing a pavilion. Where the pavilion was located was an issue, as you remember. And ADA access is a major problem. ADA now requires us to provide site access, be able to get people to parking places and get outside. The decision was to make it located near the pool, and then the opportunity to really expand what you do and use this. This is old, outdated, moldy, nasty, it's not invited, etc. You have a pool and an opportunity and volleyball to do something special. So Gary said he wanted something people would be attracted to. It is your public resort. This is not your private resort, something taxpayers and people need to be excited to talk about. This park gets a lot of activity. Every time I've been there, I've seen people there. I've never seen this place when it wasn't busy and packed with people. So we're looking at the new pavilion, which we'll come back to, but we're looking at really opening this up, admission, snack area, seating area, opening up as much as possible. You have your restrooms and changing areas on the outside. We're creating new stamped concrete. We're picking up a new image to it. And if you look, and what we'll go back to in a minute are some of the amenities you will see, as well as how we handle some pergola shading devices and things like that. Let me back up and give you some idea. Remember, these are open air restroom and changing facilities. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not totally comfortable with that today. Whether we have drones or whether we have other activities today, I like the open air concept we've talked about, but I want us together to think about that a little bit. I think we need to revisit. I'm not saying we gotta root the thing. Open air can have some opportunity, but we're looking at very nice, attractive shading devices. We're doing some of these for a client in Meridian right now. They're very nice, they're very friendly. We're looking at overhead doors, garage doors. We did them at the stadium and the stadium expansion where you can open it, have glass, you can see it. It's attractive, but you can secure it for weather, you can secure it for basic security and access purposes there. So that, and again, probably not that, but more on the outside, provide some attractive market lights, something that you see in other places. These are very inexpensive, you can order them off the shelf. We recommend you use the polycarbonate fixture, not the glass fixture itself, the bulb, because you're gonna have things that get hit, et cetera. We won't breakage problems, especially around the pool. And something attractive, it doesn't cost a lot more to use wood. We're very wood-friendly state, et cetera, and we want to detail it so people feel like this is the Starkville City Country Club pool, okay? And let's go look at the pavilion. The pavilion, we made some modifications, but it's one large open space, a lot of family reunion opportunities, birthday parties, et cetera. Every time we have talked to people for public and private ventures lately, I can tell you the big problem people have is where do we have parties? Everybody that has a party venue stays packed, and especially for birthday parties. So we want to make this thing as friendly as possible for that. And so when you take the other work and modification and couple it with this, in this large covered space, it works extremely well for that. We backed it in the corner. We're turning the door so odor and sight lines are not nearly as much of a problem before. The same kind of entry modifications. Unisex toilet situations, baby changing, water refill, etc. Stamped concrete and LED lighting everywhere. Everywhere we go, we're going to use LED lighting for this. This one is too large to do solar, but we believe we can take advantage of solar totally on Patriots and to a large degree on JL King. So that is the schematics on where we are. What we would like to do is ask you to think about that. We'd like to work with Gary and staff and you to help us think about, is this the direction you want us to head on Mon Creek? Because it is a significant change and improvement. Questions, comments?
Yeah, sorry, I was thinking. Any questions or comments from board members? Pam, did you raise your hand?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
All right,
no,
well,
speaking to the city attorney.
Okay. I don't have any at this point in time.
And we know it's gonna take time to look at it. We will
No.
be leaving documents.
Good, that's what I was gonna
Everyone.
ask, is you have
We'll
something
get that.
to leave with
We
us.
really want, this has so much potential to really be nice. It's so important, we wanna really get this right there. We think this is critical. And it's not a ton of money, but the money you're spending here, we need to get a lot of bang for our buck out of it. Yes,
Look, I
sir.
just have one question. I want to make sure that I'm clear. So in this proposal, it is redoing the restroom facilities, adding the new pavilion and the flat work that's underneath. I thought there had been some mention about the pool deck itself. Is the pool deck itself part of this?
Yeah, I'm gonna let Gary talk about some things overall
Okay.
that he may talk to y'all about, but yes, we've got the new pool apron. Woo! We got the new pool apron and we're gonna use the pool concrete around it, so
Okay.
we will be renovating the entire surroundings so that you almost have an entire new facility there, okay? That is correct. And this side would be the sun deck, okay? And this is where the sun side is, this is more of the shade side of the sun.
So is the pavilion attached to that? Is that the area
Pavilion
to
is
the?
not actually attached, Mayor, but there's a walkway and a connection there, and we're gonna,
Okay.
and we actually, it's just not popping up on the screen, but we actually have a shaded pergola, you know,
Okay.
with market lights, so it's a little bit more of an attractive environment there.
Okay. Okay. Gary, did you want to add something?
I would just say, it sounds like with Patriots and with J.O. King, what we presented previously with kind of our capital improvements or potential projects in the next 3 years, last year being year one. Patriots and J.O. King are certainly on the list, and we look to move forward. We've kind of discussed that. With the updated scope of Moncrief, the timeline for doing this particular part, I think is something we'll just have to talk about at a later date for sure, because it certainly will add cost. But the pool is certainly a hot issue. It gets discussed quite a bit. We get a lot of comments about it. It does get quite a bit of use. The research and the meetings we've had late last fall with various the pool chemical side of things, from the actual pool itself. We wanted to answer the question, how well is it holding water? The short answer is holding water pretty well, especially considering it's a 60-plus-year-old facility. So the concern and where the money potentially should go, at least so far, what we found is we don't really have just a ton of money we'd have to spend to make sure the pool is secure. It's in overall good shape,
Yeah.
But call it what it is. When you pull up in the parking lot, it does not look very attractive. So hence the design and update of scope is that, hey, if we've got a pretty well-functioning facility from the water side of things that's holding water, I think it is at least worth a pretty serious look on whether or not we want to go this direction and update the whole thing. So it's something that will last a while and look well. So.
Would you plan the improvements to the pool to be in conjunction with the construction of and renovation of the pool house and the pavilion and things?
Yeah, so I think, again, if the next meeting, whenever we bring before the board to officially approve kind of bidding for J.O. King and Patriots, we'll go ahead and get that checked off, and then I think discussion on timeline and costs for Moncrief is something we'll have to bring as a later item.
What we would recommend to you is if you give us direction on concept and how you would like to go, to try to think about what you're talking about there, is we would recommend that when you actually bid, that you have the ability to break it into alternates and pieces. Because we always need to do that for budgetary and other reasons, so that the pavilion is how we started. That's a base bid almost. This flat work would be a price there that you would do, and then these elements would be, so I would break it into pieces so you know exactly what you're paying for what. And then at that point in time, you could literally make a more informed decision on what you had the money for and what your priorities were better for. That would work out.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna ask if this might be a phased or add-on.
Or in our bid, and if we get, it's not unusual for us to bid it and have prices, folks, in such a way that we get to mark you good. We may say, hey, it's worth going all the way. If not, we'll do phase one and come back and do the others.
If you do it and you decide to do it all at one time, you probably have a general contractor that's subbing out the parts of it, which would include the pool folks and.
That's a specialty work.
Yeah, but you'd have somebody general that would be making sure.
We don't really have many generals anymore. They all broker the work pretty much, But this concrete work is really concrete work that you have plenty of concrete people in town. All the concrete flat work we do now is specialty work like this almost, You've got several we work with actually in this area that can do this. But anything specific to the pool would be a specialty, subject.
I can certainly vouch for the need. I went there not too long ago and did flashbacks. It smelled just like it was when I was a kid going there.
It does smell that way, you're right.
It does. There's something about it. So having a new identity for that would be really nice. So hopefully we can bring that into play. Yes.
If I can make one final point, the pool functions. We have 100% plan to open this summer, so I want that to be very clear on any questions we get. This does not change any plans for opening, closing, etc. This is future improvement and something we certainly want to look at, but that does not change us planning to open the pool this summer whatsoever. Just to be 100% clear.
Well, no, I mean, yes.
What would be the timeline for the construction of this?
That's what I was gonna ask.
The Moncrief stuff?
Really depends on how fast you guys can. I mean, if we can have, if schematics are approved, there's no reason we couldn't have what we need. And let's say you meet and we have a general direction, we could probably have schematics finished in 4 to 6 weeks. Once we've done that, if we have an agreement on what you want to do, and then we can come back and advertise. I think it would be very difficult. We might be able to get it by the end of May, but it would be really tight. I don't think it's realistic with the public. We got to advertise for 30 days, we got to deal with the contract. This would probably be the following year, to be realistic.
Yeah.
And there's,
Mayor, would you agree with that?
I absolutely would, and there's
I think
also
you could do the
monetary
new
issues to be
pavilion.
determined.
You could do the new
No.
pavilion, you know,
No.
but I don't think any of this is realistic at all, to be honest with you.
All right,
And
thank you.
so
Go ahead.
I'm very comfortable moving forward this Tuesday with going out for bids for Patriots and J.L. King Park to see where that is. And if the bids come back right and it's in our budget that we've allocated for this coming year, I'm totally okay with moving forward on that. And hopefully we'd have that be constructed by the middle of the summertime. Or
We're
by
hoping
the,
to have it constructed before the middle of summer.
that'd be great, and that's where I'm okay with moving forward on the schematic design of this to tighten it up. Ideally, if we go out to bid for it this summer, depending on where the money and the capital is, and that would be something that would be better if that's built in the fall.
Right.
Build this project in the fall or the following fall, so you're not impacting the summer season
Exactly.
right there, and that'll give us a better chance to see where we are from a resources perspective. So.
Funding.
This is not on agenda, schematics are not on the agenda for approval next week, so this would be February
Yep.
4th, I believe, the next meeting, just, yeah.
Right,
point of clarity.
this, yeah,
This is really more to show you the concept and the new direction,
Yep.
to make sure we're moving the right way. And we would come back with, like February 4th, with a more of a formal schematic presentation.
okay, all right, thank you. Any other questions?
Good morning. If the funding is there, when they do that, if it's possible, I would like to see them do the pavilion over there in Monte Creek. Since it's offset from the other parts of it.
We certainly take a look at it. It goes back to the, this piece, and this piece. So we can certainly take a look at it and see where, if possible, we might have some funding for the pavilion itself. So, okay,
Sounds good.
all right.
Thank
Thank you so
y'all very
much.
much. We
Appreciate
appreciate
your being here for our work session.
Thank y'all very
All
much.
righty, okay.
Appreciate it.
If there are no further questions, if that being the case, we will move to our agenda and look at the items associated with that. And where possible, we will put stuff on consent. We'll start with the 2 sets of minutes. Mr. Latimer, you have blessed those, and
Yes,
those are ready from your perspective. Any concerns about putting those on consent? Okay? And then apparently I will be introducing some folks this time around, and I don't know if anyone has any Alderman comments they want to have printed on the agenda, but we certainly can do that at this point if somebody has anything. All right, we'll move along. Mr. Dumas will be gracing us with his presence. He has to have a required public hearing for the SMART program, and I believe we've been provided some information for us to sign as a part of his required paperwork. So we'll look forward to hearing from him. And there he is, Mr. Cunningham is here. And under mayor's business, we have, and you may have seen it in the paper, but I know this went to the county first, because they met before we did. But this is a need for us to, or a recommendation, for us to reject the water tower bids and re-advertise. Mr. Cunningham, you want to give us just a little brief overview of that, please?
Like the mayor said, we took bids back in December for a 400,000 gallon composite elevated tank, which has a steel base, bowl at the top, and it's got like concrete pedals like you've seen, like it maybe Yokohama or Nissan or something like that. There's a budget set up of around 1.5 million. There's some ARC funds in that, and we took bids, like I said, and came in around $1 million out of the budget, which is a little shocking there, but we went back to some of the bidders. We only had 2 bids. We had Landmark Structures and Caldwell Tanks, and they were about $2.5 million with each one of their bids. And we had one that was late, didn't get to open it, so it was Phoenix Fabricators. Talking to them later on down the road, they probably would have been around 2.3 if they would have got their bid on time. Regardless, we're still out of the money, and so went back and talked to the bidders about what why we got such high costs and that sort of thing. And some of the things we found out, you know, of course, steel prices are up 50% from the tariffs and that sort of thing. They're busy, these tank contractors that do this type of work. One of them told me they had 90 jobs out already going on right now. So we have 400 days, consecutive calendar days set up on the contract. They asked, could it be lengthened? Maybe that could help the price some. So that might be one thing to look at and trying to revisit, do some value engineering, get some of the costs down. It's a 200-foot tall tank, which that's got partly to do with the way the city's hydraulic system works. You got two separate systems, one's lower than the other, without getting too technical. In working with Terry and Jacob there with Starkville Utilities, I think that's probably going to have to stay the same, just the way what we're looking at. There are some possible ways we might could redirect how the water out of this tank goes out and serves other areas of the city. That might do some savings back on the piping system that we designed and set up to try to help that tank turn over, because you know, right now it's not a lot out there. And of course the tank's going to serve two purposes, you know, fire protection, and as it grows out there, you're going to have, you know, the storage in place to take care of some of that demand so it doesn't just hit your system hard. But right now, until that point happens, you want to make sure your tank turns over and that water doesn't get stagnant and you have problems with it. So part of looking forward into that, we'll be trying to look at, see if we can't do some things with that piping, because the piping just to control the valves in the tank right now has got set up was $100,000. And then outside of the tank, the way we were trying to redirect the water was around $300,000. So, you know, if we can cut some of that down, maybe do some things different with the site footprint around the tank, maybe condense that a little bit, but still make it manageable for working conditions and maintenance so they don't have trouble with that. That's kind of where we're wanting to maybe look at revisiting and update the new set of drawings and put it back out on the market. Let them tell us how long they want to take to do it. It can't be forever, but I have had some discussion with Joe Max Higgins about the bonds, and he checked on that. It's not really a time frame on that as far as having to be done. I hadn't heard anything different from that on ARC money as well. Of course, like I said, we don't want to wait around, want to go ahead and get it out there and get it in place. So,
How long do you think it'll be before you re-advertise?
it's probably going to be a 60-day process.
Okay, but you said you had to
30,
rework some
45 days for
figures.
us to get back into the design. We're going to sit back down with Terry and Jacob Moore and get into that specifics on the technical side of things, and then get all that together. I got to revisit with some of these bidders again, let them know that we're looking at rebidding and get some more ideas where they may see some potential cost savings that we
Okay.
haven't talked about.
And the county's already voted on this, right?
They
So-
have, they voted, because the ARC grants through the county
Right.
for the funding purposes. And so in order to do that, move forward with doing this, like I say, we need to reject the bids.
So it was ARC money, but it was also bond money. So we share in that element. So any questions? Yeah.
How far out were your bids on that?
They were about $1 million out.
So y'all had estimated $1 million or $1.2 million, and you got
$1.5
$1.5 million, and these coming in 2.3.
Right.
Is this a Catasphere? What kind of water tank is it?
It's a composite, so the top bowl is steel,
Right.
and then the pedestal part of it sits on.
It's got that cover around the bottom like the thing out at the GTR, is that the?
That's right.
That's that type of water
The
tank.
newest tank they got out
It's
there.
it's the best looking water tank too. It's
Exactly,
very attractive.
exactly. And also, not only that, y'all gotta maintain these tanks over the years. And over a 60-year life, you're gonna get some savings on repainting that steel. If you were to have a multi-leg tank like y'all got a lot of those here, you're gonna have some, maybe some 15-20% savings.
But you get more bang for your buck on the cost of the tank if you go with a multi-leg tank, correct?
Sir?
You can get more water tank for your money with a multi-leg tank, correct?
You could get a lower cost,
I can remember back when we bid on tank. prior life. When we built the tank, the pedestal tank we were looking at was 50% more expensive just because of oil, you know.
Right.
We got a lot of bang for our buck on the market that time.
Right.
More metal?
They're just the old, more traditional style tanks that just don't cost as much money
Well,
to
again,
construct. But this is gonna
you
be on the
gotta
highway where you want to look good. So.
Well, and again, your painting costs over time, you could save money on the front end, pay a little more now than on the back end when you start repainting this multi-deck tank versus composite. Just
Okay.
because of more steel that you gotta repaint.
400,000 gallons, that's
Yes,
expected.
We'll be at we went down, up and down, we went down 300,000, went up 500,000, with alternate bids. You know, that change really wasn't significant, so it may be that we could, you know, go up $40,000 difference on going from a 400 to a 500,000 gallon tank, so.
Is the 400,000 out of size, is that an odd size for tank builders, or they build whatever you?
They can build up and down.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Anyone have any concerns about going ahead and putting that on consent?
I'm fine with it on consent.
Okay. All righty, and then under board business, we have authorizing and directing issuance of electric revenue bonds. These are the ones that we have, we're gonna go for the Southwest substation. And we have already authorized, and this is the issuing part of, piece of this. So, and this is for $8.5 million. Any concerns about that? That
I'm
was
fine with that.
supported.
I will just note
Consent on
that the last sentence, electric, is kind of misspelling. If
Yeah.
somebody wants to.
There you go. Joanna, you want to fix
that
electric
one.
on that one? Yeah, it does, extending the electric system. If you would, please, I'd
I
appreciate
would,
it.
yes.
Thank you. We have no airport items, code enforcement. We have one planning item, which is, oh, and just FYI, y'all, we thought we were gonna bring back that 3-lot thing on Lafayette. They have pulled it. They've decided to pull the project, so it will not be coming back, just FYI. Then this one is preliminary plat approval for 2 lots on 389, and this is Mr. Byram's project at Kreitz and 389. So preliminary plat, I don't think we have anything necessarily to talk about as it relates to that, right? So we'll be looking at that, okay. And a resolution naming Vista Avenue, and I can't, that is the new street that will be, that goes from University down to College View. At this point in time, normally a naming comes with a development, but this one is kind of separate for whatever reason. It's just kind of standing out by itself, so we just need to approve the
Is this-
naming of it.
That's
Is this-
Harry Bell Road.
No,
No,
that's
this is
Camp.
not Harry Bell.
This is the one
This
that,
is the one that's directly across,
from Maxwell, or,
no,
well,
not from Maxwell, from,
Bulldog Burger. Yeah.
It's in your ward.
it is, and
It
so
is.
I guess,
What you think?
I'd like to, are we proposing this name, or they proposing?
No,
the name?
well, the project is named Vista, and,
Yeah.
and they asked Vista Avenue, Vista Street, Vista Road, and I said, you know, Vista Avenue sounds better to me, but that's just a,
Okay, let's hold off on adding that one to consent. I just
Okay.
wanna
Dream of, I mean.
look at it a little bit.
Yeah, and Mayor, may I be heard
Sure.
on this? And Jason, we're not accepting the road with this, we're
Oh, no,
only
no.
approving the name.
Right.
So MSU and the development has asked us to do that so they can promote things and get mapping right, and apparently it's census related. I don't understand all the particulars, but all we're doing is approving the name.
That's right, and so I just want to make sure that before we approve the name that's going to be here, presumably for a really long time, that that's the name that the city wants and not just what the developer
I
wants.
agree with you.
Yeah, that's good.
okay, all right, well, then we will do that. And then under engineering, we have the, this is the build grant paperwork. Edward, are you here? Yeah, you're there. And this is to just execute the project activation documents, and I don't have the distinction of what an activation document is different than any other kind of document. Do you want to enlighten us a little bit?
It's just some basic standard paperwork that NDOT requires as part of any project. Has some specifics about the project itself. Some standard forms that need to be filled out, signed by the mayor. Designation of the LPA chief official, who's the mayor, and the LPA project manager. Just, again, just standard normal things.
Just step one in the,
Right.
in the process.
Right, the other big part of this motion though is to authorize the mayor to sign the MOU or MOA. That's going to be another standard boilerplate item that NDOT is developed, NDOT and Federal Highway will develop together. and it will outline the city's responsibilities and obligations as part of this project. I don't have a draft of that yet because we have to activate the project before they'll develop the MOA. But then once we do activate it, they'll send us a draft MOA, and I'm proposing to let Chris look at it before the mayor executes it. And certainly we can distribute it around to the board. At that
It's
time.
almost one of those take it or leave it things from MDOT bids.
And Mayor, we could put that on the agenda at a later time too, if the board would ultimately approve the MOA. You know what I
Sure,
mean?
no, we
So-
absolutely can. It's just, the option was to, one of the concerns that we have about this project, to be perfectly frank, is they are compressing the timeline in such a way that every step that takes another 2 weeks or another month or whatever it is it takes just ends up putting us a little bit behind. And it is, we thought we were gonna have, like, according to the grant or the request, we thought we were gonna have like 6 years, and they're pulling it back by like 3 and 4 years maximum. So, you know, and there's just so much out there. There are a lot of moving parts to this, so that's all.
I'm
Anyway.
fine with that being on consent.
Okay, all right, any issue? Okay, all right, we'll make that one consent. All right, and the next one is associated with the linkages project, which was that $588,000 grant that we got associated with the county, the city, and taking it on into MSU, the walkway, the path on into MSU. So that is that linkages project, so interlocal agreement for that. Consent for that? Okay, good. Claims docket we have, and then financials, we usually are willing to do the financials, so are we good with those? All right, excellent. Okay, HR, we have entry-level police officers that we are requesting to hire, and the good news is that Hano is coming back to us. He was with us for a while and left and is now coming back, so that's a good thing. So any issues with consent on that? Then we have authorization to hire a maintenance worker for sanitation environmental. Issues there. These have all been obviously interviewed by NAV and the department head, so they're comfortable with it. Authorization to hire part-time customer service representatives in the utilities department. And we are in need because we were shorthanded over the holidays, so consent on that one. IT, the good news, Joel, is we're finally gonna get this lease purchase agreement for our security cameras, and Chris has vetted it, so.
That's right, and this is, of course, we did 10 cameras last year, so this is the first 5 of the 10 this year, the first 5. We've been asked to break it into 2 batches, one now and one a little bit later in the budget year, and we did not lose any volume pricing on that or anything, so it's just kind of metering it out a little bit. So this 5, 3 of those will replace the old cameras on Main Street. Those cameras, while old, will still be in use. We'll move them to a further out location. And then we have one over on Old West Point Road and one on Reed Road in this round. And I apologize, I should have had a map prepared to show you today, so I'll bring that next work session just so you can visualize where these next 5 cameras will go.
Okay, we also have, OCEDA has just authorized to purchase a camera for the 389 entrance up there. And I know we have some businesses that have said that they will be willing to get camera
That's right.
ready and
That's
camera
right.
access for the
There's
city
a lot
around
of interest,
town.
and we've actually also put another camera unit over on Lynn Lane, near the entrance to McGee Park, across from the Parks and Rec sort of storage facility, if you'll notice that one. So that's one more added to the list. So the project is growing nicely.
Yeah, getting good coverage around town. Any concerns with that one for consent? And then we have our sole bidder, Mr. Tate, for concessions in the park. And then a facility use agreement with Cross Point Church, and that is a recurring agreement. Well, I say recurring, they've been there for a while, so.
The only thing on that, Mayor, we're still waiting on their waiver of subrogation to come in.
Okay.
So that'll need to come in before Tuesday.
Okay,
I
We
would
anticipate
say-
that it will, but if not, we'll just strike it.
okay.
Yeah, I'm good with consent. Otherwise, you let us know
And we can
that
pull
we
it.
don't have that information.
Okay, sounds good. All right, and we have the fingerprint machine.
Oh.
Excited about that one. So lowest and best of 3 quotes, so consent with that one. A grant with the Justice Assistance Grant, for hotspot policing. So that's another one of those wonderful options when we get to use somebody else's money for a grant. And then Canon Solutions, and Chris, you're good with that one?
Yes, ma'am.
All righty. And we will be having executive session, and that matter is in front of you here, so you'll be able to take a look at that between now and Tuesday. So anything further?
Yes, sir.
Alderman Vaughn.
In the section down there, cyber security, they came up so much. We went into so many sections, that's all they were talking about.
Yes, sir.
Cyber security. So where are we on that?
I feel very confident in the measures we've taken here at City Hall and at the city. We have several layers of security in place. We have hardware, software, user training, and also backups. So I feel like we're at least at the industry standard, if not a little more forward leaning. So I feel very comfortable with where we are with our cybersecurity situation.
Yeah, Joel has been very aggressive.
Came up a lot, didn't they have?
They sure did,
About
they
a
sure
lot
At
of
the
everything we went into.
winter MML is what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
After some of these big cities got hit with it.
That's right.
Yeah, well, and I think Joel has taken a lesson from all of that. The beauty of being able to see that and respond to it ahead of time, so.
Not just big places, they hit mid-sized places like that, yeah, small places like
That's
this.
right, and that seems to be where they focused.
That's what he said.
Towns that are large enough to have some significant data, but maybe not large enough to have invested in their IT infrastructure. So that's why I feel secure, because I think we have, the leadership here has had the vision to invest in that, so.
Blackmail would be really, really ugly.
That's right, that's right.
And what a waste of taxpayer dollars. All right, thank you, everyone. If there's nothing else, we're good? No other questions? Awesome. Y'all have a great weekend. It is a long weekend, MLK Day on Monday. City will be closed, just as a reminder. Full trash pickup on Tuesday. I think that's, echo that. And we will have the MLK breakfast at 8:30 at the Mill.
Right.
And then there's the MLK Walk and the Unity Park that afternoon at, I believe, 1:30. So those who wish to join, and other than that, enjoy your weekend. Thank you all. Appreciate it.